I want to make sure that something is clear. Social media is like it's a gift and a curse. There's a lot of great things about social media, and you'll have people who will say, like, why don't you just quit social media? There's part of me that would love to. But part of me knows it's not a reality. Because I have, 270,000 followers on X at GOTTLIEB Show. And I don't know what I am on Instagram as well. But it gives you the ability to deliver content immediately to that many people. And all it takes is one person to retweet it. And then that content spread. It's like, game of telephone. Literally from your telephone. So the reality is, like, either you use social media as best you can or you perish in any legitimate industry, especially ours. But I would love to, I saw this study from the Pew study, that's PEW, that 92% of the political tweets on X, 92% are from 7% of the far right and 6% of the far left. So basically 13% and it's the very, very fringes control the space, which makes you think it's like, I had a friend, our old producer here, Ryan Music, who now produces with Colin Cowherd. He said once, like, I grew up like fairly liberal. I said, I'm like a left-leaning radical centrist, right? Like, but if you're on social media, some things will make you feel like you're super conservative, right? And then again, some things will make you feel like you're super crazy liberal, when the truth is, like, I'm radically in the center. I bring that up because there is a reality to social media, which is it's like the comments that are made by people who have the egg or people who aren't held accountable can be so over the top ridiculous that, legitimately, if they're a random, like, just block them or mute them. It doesn't matter. They're not real people anyway. But that doesn't excuse if it's a racial epithet or a death threat. But let's not act like these are real people worth valuing their opinions or the things they say. I say that because this was Angel Reese, LSU's star forward, after the loss last night to Iowa.
I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down and, like, not be there for them. So I just want them to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day, I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm going to always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are. Keep waking up every day. Keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down, and just be confident.
So here's the issue I have with it. First thing is, if there's a real legit death threat out there, or there's real racial epithets, then she should out those people. They're not acceptable. Like, we're all in agreement there, right? Okay, there's no like gray area there, whatever.
It's not even outing people. It's going to the authorities and showing them all the evidence you have. I think we have people that are paid by our government to find those people in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And if you make a death threat because you're black, that's a racial crime. That's federal prison time.
Correct. And there's nothing wrong at all with, if that actually happens, going to people. Or for me, it's just as simple as you can just quote tweet it and go, hey, look at this person, and let social media handle the rest, be the vigilantes for the rest of us. But the other stuff, let's be clear. On this show, I've been critical of Angel Reese. I've been critical of Kim Mulkey, but I've been critical of their actions in regards to basketball. And here's the issue. I actually totally understand a lot of what Angel Reese is feeling. I get it. I didn't win a national championship, so I don't know what that's like. I wasn't the social media or media presence that she is. I wasn't as good a player in my sport as she is in her sport. But I do understand that when you're in college and you're in the bubble, you'll say things and do things that you'll look back 5, 10 years, or even a year later and be like, I can't believe I did that. I'll give you an example. I was at Oklahoma State, and everybody knew I wanted to maybe get into media when I was done. And my second year on campus, they had me guest host a radio show, and the football team was going to play at Texas, and I picked Texas to win. And I just was like, hey, I don't think we're that good this year. I think Texas is going to beat us, blah, 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 blah. And like the pushback, like the football guys were like, what are you doing? Like, we eat with you every day. We work out with you every day. You're one of us. And it's one thing to say, hey, Texas is really good, but like say we're going to lose, like that, it was hard. But again, it's a mistake. You go back, you're like, you know what? Poor choice of words, poor way of putting it. You can absolutely say, hey, I think this is going to be a really difficult game. I love our guys. I think we're going to win. I believe in it. There's a way to do it. So one of the things that Angel Reese is contradicting herself is she's like, she wouldn't change anything. She's unapologetically me. Like, okay, well I don't have sympathy for people because I found it terrible what she did last year with Caitlin Clark with the You Can't See Me. And I know that Caitlin Clark did that when she hit a shot in the Elite Eight, but I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I don't believe that she did it right to the face of somebody. It was a 3-point celebration. Some people do the like ice in my veins thing or 3 in my veins, or they do the 3 guitar or just stick up like or they do the bow and the arrow. You guys seen the bow and the arrow? Everybody has a 3-point celebration. The difference was that she goes right up to her and then starts doing the ring thing. Like, I don't know. You win with class, you lose with class. I thought it was classless. And I don't think that anybody actually deep down disagrees with me. It's classless. But here's the thing. If you don't think it's classless, or even if you do, but if you don't think it's classless, okay, then you're fair game for trash talk back at you when you get beat. There's a clip of Caitlin Clark last night, and Haley Van Lith is talking to her, and she's like, You're down 15 points. Shut up. There's a clip. I'll show you guys the clip. And it's like, that is perfect because that's the truth. When you're down 15, you don't do the 3-point celebrations. When you're down 15, you don't run your mouth. You shake hands and you say, hey, man, you kick my ass. That's what you do. So that like the pity party strikes us cold because there's no accountability. Hey, what if she just said, look, I think what happens is last year we were so excited to win. There's such a like Caitlin Clark that we kind of shoved in her face and I feel terrible about it. Not how I want to react. And this year was hard because we came back and winning again is hard and you add Haley in and everybody thinks more is more. And the truth is less is more in basketball and sports and in life. And you learn a lot. And so if there's things that I did, I'm young. I'm going to learn from them. And I'm going to learn them and they're going to grow. But instead what you got was everybody's mean to me. This really is hard. I won a championship and everybody's mean to me, but I won't change anything about who I am. And that's the lesson that I've learned. And that just lands poorly to me. Dan, let me ask you, how does it land with you?
Yeah, I thought that her comments last night probably were her truth over the last 4 months, and it never came out. It only came out when her teammates are sticking up for her 2 days ago, and then she comes out and says it after a loss. And in a way, it's kind of a shield to use at that point, right. I felt. Right. If all of these things have been going on over the last 12 months, why do we only hear about it in the Elite Eight after your season has just come to an end? Maybe somebody would point out that, well, that's why, because the season just ended. But I just don't believe that. If these things are happening in January and February and you have a win over an SEC team, but you're still getting this stuff, it doesn't make it, at that point, it's still wrong that this stuff is happening. So I felt that last night was actually used as kind of a shield following the loss that you didn't want to deal with having your season come to an end and losing to Caitlin Clark in Iowa.
Jay Stu, what do you think?
And I really like the word that Dan used there. It was a shield. Like some people bring their kids to the press conference so that they could use that as a shield. She used the it's really hard to have 2 million followers on Instagram and have NIL deals worth 7 figures and be an influencer and be attractive and be online. It's really hard. I'm not that. That's a perfect way to put it. She did that last night so that she thinks that she's probably buffering or maybe slowing down the negativity that she would have received today for her actions a year ago, right?
Yeah, and listen, I also think that the reality is most women are a little bit more sensitive to criticism than guys are. They just are. I think all people are on some level sensitive. I just think men process it a little differently, right? Whereas women, they can really get sensitive. And social media can be a cesspool. Right? But again, there has to be a level of accountability in that, hey, when you take money to be an influencer. I had this fascinating discussion with my daughter yesterday. So my daughter, Harper, again, I'm a dad. I'm blinded by love. I understand. I believe she's a superstar in her sport. The only limiting factors in her, she's an equestrian, right? She's going to Oklahoma State to ride, and it's actually in a different discipline than she rides in, so she's going to have a lot of learning to do. But like, if it has 4 legs and a tail, she can ride it. And if it's a horse, like, you would not believe what she's done with one of the horses she's working with, where no one could get it to perform in the ring, and she's got it jumping in the Grand Prix. Like, it's incredible. So I think the world of her. And so we were sitting down talking. We're like, look, this is a hard thing financially. Like, this sport, I'm not in that percentile. And I want to help you, but you got to work with me here. Is social media and NIL, which is totally legal in college sports, she's me a college athlete, is that the way to go? And so we started talking about Liv Dunn, who, of course, Liv Dunn is a gymnast at LSU, and she makes a couple $1 million a year on social media. And she's like, Dad, and she started rattling off all these, Angel Reese and Liv Dunn and all these different, and she's like, they exist in my sport. Like, I don't want that because everybody hates you. People in your sport don't like you, and people in the real world, they just hate on you. So I understand that there's a realness to the, hey, there's haters out there. I get it. But you go in having to know that, right? That unfortunately in the world we've created where you can make a lot of money because you're a young star athlete. But it's like, okay, if you're putting out sexualized TikTok videos, then yeah, guys are going to sexualize their remarks. Like, isn't that a real thing? Like, I'm all for, I understand you. If you have the desire for privacy, you can. But again, then you got to keep your accounts private and try not to profit off it. It's a hard one, but I'm completely with you. Like, all this stuff, there's been death threats the whole time, and we never heard about it. Only now when you lose? That doesn't make sense to me.
We're also 48 hours removed at that point from a handshake line where she's telling assistants from UCLA to watch your mouth.
Right. Like, she's not, this is my problem with Kim Mulkey. Okay. It's not a problem with Angel Reese. It's with Kim Mulkey. You are either coaching it or allowing it. One of the two. Okay. And I said this last year. We can pull the tape if you'd like. If I was to do that last year, if I was to win a national championship and go by an opponent and do the you can't see me in the ring thing, my coach would have grabbed my ass and yanked me out of the game and sat me there and go, like, that's not what we do. That's not how we do it. right? This is in major league clubhouses. Okay, there's the young versus the old, and the old guys always end up winning over. Right? It's the old Yasiel Puig thing when he was with the Dodgers. Like, hey, man, you can celebrate a home run, but we don't need a Cadillac around the base paths. Right? Take a peek at it, and then put your head down and run around. People have hit home runs before. They're going to hit home runs after you. Like, there's just a way. There's just a right way and a wrong way. And look, I understand some things are borderline trash talk. They've been taunting, and you're right. And that's a great point, Dan. I'd forgotten about telling an assistant coach to watch. What was it? Watch your mouth.
Yep.
Like what? Shake hands. Good game. 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 This is not hard. Okay? Not hard. And these rules, by the way, are not only for women. You can go pull the tape. Last game of my career, we played Florida. They're winning the game. They're kicking our tail at the end. They're holding the ball, and they went in. I can't remember who it is. If I saw the box score, I'd remember. One of their bench players goes in and dunks it at the buzzer. And we were like ready to throw down. Like, what are you doing? You won. We're in the handshake. We're already shaking hands. You're going to the Final Four. You need like 2 more points. Like, does that? You feel good about that? You know. So these rules are. You don't say that to an assistant coach in men. You don't say that to an assistant coach in women. But it's what's been allowed previously, and then when it's allowed, there's a negative reaction to it. And when there's a negative reaction to it, all of a sudden now you can't take it. It's the exact same thing I said with Haley Van Lith yesterday. I don't think you understand why people don't like you. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has to do with the way in which you act and you handle yourself when you win. It's the old women class, losers class. They won classlessly. Is that a word?
Sure.
No, is it a word? Like I don't like making.
I don't think so. I would say without class.
They won without class. And so when you lose, now, again, I thought Iowa was classy in their victory yesterday. I didn't think they rubbed it. Did it feel like they rubbed it in or taunted at the end?
No, there were. I didn't see any, but there was something online of when Angel Reese fouled out, one of the players waving to her. I didn't see the clip, but
I think by and large, though, the handshake line was about what you want. It's what you want.
From both sides.
Decorum,
from
sportsmanship,
from both sides.
Yeah.
From both sides. But the post-game, woe is me, what'd you call it, Jay Stu? Pity party?
It's just the definition of a pity party to me. I don't know. And
then I thought, Dan, that's a great way of putting it. Using it as a shield for being accountable for, hey, and maybe, and I'm going to guess, in 10 years, we'll get to sit down with Angel Reese. She's played in the WNBA for a while, and she's like, I was in college. I was kind of full of myself. Happens. I said some things, I acted some ways that I didn't want to act. And I think all of us would go like, yeah, that makes sense. Who among us hasn't? I know I have.